I've chosen 3 pieces to share with you all. They're all sort of following the same theme of the struggles I have with labels and identity and putting myself into a certain kind of category, and how over the years I've struggled to find out how to live in this world and find my space and inhabit that space with confidence without the external pressures of what everyone else thinks about all the choices that you make or how you live your life. And I think part of that sort of reflection has happened through the process of counselling over the years and understanding that my life has had trauma in it, and that trauma doesn't necessarily arrive in your life with sirens or flashing lights, but it has a significant impact. And it's been helpful for me to sort of learn about me and love me and understand the decisions that I may have made when I tried to fit in and tried to conform, and that I was basically doing that to try and survive, and that it's a natural human thing to do when you're faced with trauma. So the first poem that I want to read to you is called On the Back of My Hand, and I actually wrote this a few years ago based on a childhood experience, and I'd never performed in public, but I performed it for the very first time at the end of 2018 at a Speak Outside the Lines event which Red had organised, and it was above the quarter in Hanley, and I was quite nervous, but this was the first poem that I'd ever shared, because I wrote poetry for me and to help me understand myself, and I'd never thought that I would perform it in public. So this is it. On the Back of My Hand. In the few years of life, I was innocent at first, happy and content in the safe familiarity of me. Then at school I was told by the class that I wasn't the person I was supposed to be. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words could weigh me down and create doubt. Words suffocated, repressed, confined, created an apologetic whisper from a once proud shout. One day, a child arrived pre-armed with tweezers taken from his mother's nightstand. Held captive against a wall in the playground, he took flesh from the back of my hand, and at that moment he tried to break my spirit with violence, but how was he to know that from this attack a strength at my core was formed, and it began to grow? I looked him directly in the eyes, and deep within summoned a will to hold my tears. My face, like a mirror, reflected his own insecurities. It highlighted his own doubts, his fears. And at that moment he couldn't hold my gaze. I knew that it was my truth that held the power. It could fuel my future. Every moment of each day, minute by minute, hour by hour. The fruit of life is abundant. Its sweet flesh ripens in the golden light of honesty. And I knew I had the right to take my share of happiness by living the truth of me. So I stood my ground. I owned my sense of self, and I refused to step back towards the dark. I remained in the light of my truth through the pain as the attack left its physical mark. I will always have a reminder in the flesh on the back of my hand of my need to stay strong. I may lose battles along the way, but the space of me is where I belong. I am a perfectly imperfect version of me. I am my own truth and my own light. But keeping a foothold to remain on this path doesn't come without a fight. A war of words, of definitions and explanations are needed to aid others' understanding. It feels like toil, a weight heavy on my shoulders. Being alive is easy, it's the living that's demanding. Oftentimes I feel that I should not have the burden of enclosing myself within a defined box. I shouldn't have to write myself a label, categorise my humanity, all in order not to shock those who walk like sheep amongst us with the dead eyes and the lack of imagination, to realise that its diversity gives the colour to a black and white world and is cause for celebration. And I've learned that the people with the narrowest of minds often have the loudest of voices, with no empathy or willingness to understand and respect the lives of others and their life choices. So as the war for equality rolls on, we have to take power from our definitions, straight, bi or gay. We can spend time stocking our armoury with the labels that they understand. He, she, they. Our battles will be refined debate, discussion, serving as a role model, and it raises the bar. Equal lives lived to their fullest as the beautiful, unique human beings that we all know we are. My second one carries on that theme, and I wrote this for Poets Corner, which happened a couple of weeks ago. It's usually part of the Six Towns Carnival, which couldn't happen physically this year due to COVID-19, but I was invited and really honoured to be asked to submit a video of some poems for an online version of Poets Corner, and I wrote this poem specifically for that event, and it's called Resilience. You said I didn't fit, so I tried to sharpen up my corners, straighten out my edges, disguising my outward form, flattening contours, morphing, changing shape, external boundaries challenged, warped under the pressure, easily moulded but losing myself, no longer fitting my own space, a distortion of my truth, uncomfortable in my skin. Discovering with age a resilience to return to my original form, bent, compressed and stretched, absorbing the disturbance but retaining an original identity, opposing falsity and determined. You said I didn't fit, but I love my rounded corners, my edges curved. A round peg in a square hole makes the world confusing, but that confusion isn't mine. I find strength to celebrate the uniqueness of me. And the final thing that I wanted to share with you is one that I've wrote this week specifically for tonight, and it's called Man Up. Man up was never an option for me. Man up is man down, unintentionally. It's a stifled expression of identity, contained, not allowing others to see, restricting and hiding your humanity, maintaining an emotional invisibility, never setting your inner feelings free, bottled up and pushing down sensitivity. Weakness is to show emotional availability. Unless that emotion is pure hostility, sucker punch kisses your normality, clenched fists to fuel the toxicity, and I never fitted in to that reality, which gave me the strength to be not boy, not man, not him or he, nor girl or woman, not her or she. Betwixt and between unintentionally, I searched for my own vocabulary, powered by freedom from the binary, no male, no female, just fluidity, that stoked up my growing curiosity, a human in this world with the capacity to be resilient and use my vulnerability to live and to love with greater intensity. Man up was never an option for me. And that's all I've got for you. So hope you enjoyed that. I hope I didn't go on too much at the beginning explaining what I was talking about, but yeah, I just thought that put it into a bit of more context. So thanks for the opportunity and thanks for listening. Bye.